My name is Cory Alpert and I'm running for Student Body President. So my campaign is hinged on three major platform items. The first is cost of attendance. That means making sure that every student can attend this university without breaking the bank. Now, when we first started designing this campaign, my campaign team and I sat down and researched this idea and really got excited about it. We were able to get in contact with the 15 major repositories of things called open educational resources. These are things that are developed and implemented at some of the best universities in the world and have been implemented by our peer institutions. So University of Massachusetts, University of Minnesota, University of Georgia, Rice University, a number of universities across the country and across the world who are able to implement these. University of Massachusetts saved their students over $1 million in a one-year experiment. Now, these are essentially free textbooks that can help save students $500 to $800 per semester. The average student at USC spends $1,008 per year on textbooks. Your average freshman spends $1,500 per semester on textbooks. This cost skyrockets for minority and first-generation students. But this is the cost that student government can help address. The biggest obstacle to implementation, especially according to the repositories and libraries that we've already spoken with, the biggest obstacle is simply awareness. That means that student government has the ability to go out and meet with faculty, meet with administration, and these are things my campaign staff has already done. There are already faculty on this campus who are going to be implementing OERs and saving students money next semester. So that's something that we can go ahead and start doing and making sure that students can be successful without having to spend too much money. Second is town-gown relationships. That means being successful at USC because you're in Columbia, not in spite of it. So that means making sure that students have access to all the networking opportunities, all the career opportunities, and all the events that happen in the city. That means making sure that students have access to some of the biggest and best employers this city has to offer. Some of the events, like Famously Hot New Year, that students typically don't go to, that can help enrich their time here. That means that their time at USC doesn't stop benefiting them once they graduate. Lastly is campus unity. And to me, this is something that isn't talked about enough, but should be talked about more. This means that we should be recognizing that USC has a growing and diverse student body, and that we gain our strength through that. That we should be working to remove barriers, to make sure students can create change on this campus. So I'll be instituting something called a Secretary of Engagement, whose sole job it will be to connect students to the resources and opportunities this city and this university have to offer to make sure their ideas can come to fruition. Not letting their ideas die in an echo chamber, but making sure that ideas can come to fruition. And their ideas can help change this university. Because there are already students across this university who have great ideas, but it's a matter of modifying student government and sending it out into the community. So rather than waiting for someone to come to us, rather than being an exclusive organization, we ought to be inviting everyone in, but more than just inviting people in, we ought to be going and working and making sure that we are talking to people. It's not their responsibility to come to student government. It's student government's responsibility to go out and seek out everyone on this campus and find their ideas and find ways to make campus better. So that's my vision of student government, to have a spirit of action and a spirit of service to help make this university a better place every day. I think that's the biggest challenge, and this is something that I had to grapple with in my time on Elections Commission. You're generally going to look at about a 16 to 20% voting percentage at USC. It's about middle of the road for the SEC. It's not great, but the challenge is to take that low perception of student government. The student government can't change much, and actually working. And I think we've seen a ball drop recently. But it's a matter of going out and working nonstop. It's a matter of showing a relentless dedication to making sure that students' lives are better. And I think that it's a matter of changing perception within student government from a perception of, okay, well, we're here, that's great, this is a great resume line, to we're here because we need to help students. And that's a mindset that I've always had. That's a mindset that I had instilled in me when I first stepped into student government. I was the Deputy Elections Commissioner under a guy named William O. Shields, who was the commissioner, who his constant motto was, we are here to help the student body. We're not here to congratulate ourselves. We're here to make sure that students' lives are better every day. And that's something that I really believe in. Well, I mean, there are the obvious structural and systematic concerns that we're all going to have with why men are going to run for political office and why men are going to speak louder and more often. And these are things that I think need to be combated. But it comes back to something called unconscious bias, which is more than just your admitted outright racist and sexist, but it's a matter of recognizing that we all have this unconscious bias and that we all have these little things that we're all ingrained to think. There was a great study by the Boston Symphony Orchestra about 20 years ago where they actually made auditioners take off their shoes before they played. Before they did this, there was a massive imbalance towards men getting in. The prevailing wisdom was men were better players. Take off their shoes, you can't hear the clickety-clack of the heels going to playing. After the experiment, 50% women, 50% men, because of a blind audition. It's a matter of recognizing the unconscious bias. So when I'm in student government, it's a matter of recognizing that bias, recognizing that yes, I was raised in the South. Yes, I was raised with these certain unconscious biases, but in recognizing that, you can help defeat them. But I think when you're looking for candidates who can help defeat that, you have to look at their personal circles. You have to look at who their friends are, and you have to look at who makes up their campaign. My campaign chair, Danielle Paget, and her girlfriend, Bailey Enlow, are two of the people who inspire me the most, and they help make sure that Danielle gets on me constantly about making sure that what I'm saying is what I'm trying to express, that I'm not using language that would make someone feel that they're not welcome here. And that's important. It's a matter of making sure that the people inside your own social circle and the people inside of your own world, not who you're pledging to put in cabinet, not petty political promises, but the people in your own social world and the people you have already chosen to make your friends with are people who are going to help make student government and yourself a better person every single day. So I think it's a matter of recognizing those biases, recognizing that student government does need to do better. It's 2016. We don't need to have cabinets that are exclusively male or exclusively white. We need to be recognizing that USC has such a diverse student body and that student government ought to be representing that. I think instituting quotas is a terrible idea to me. I think that then leads to the question of, well, was I selected because I'm X category or because I'm a qualified candidate? But I think it comes down to, Google did a recent study where they hired a selective pool of applicants, but before they went through each and every resume, the selection committee actually had to list and identify all of their own biases. And they had to identify where they thought they were going to be more biased, and then they went through the science behind it. I'm a sociology major. I look at these sorts of things. I look at the sociology of power and legitimacy, and I look at these sorts of biased ideas. And that's something that works, is when you're going through applications to, before you go through that, to immediately have a conversation on, I am going to read these with a lens of bias. As soon as you say that, you're going to look at it with less bias. Now, of course, I'm not going to be perfect. But it's a matter, again, of going back and making sure that there are people around who are going to make sure that those conversations are had and that there is a diverse group. And going back into my personal life, that's something that I think is an incredible strength. And that's something that I think that diversity of ideas and that diversity of opinions is something that makes us stronger. I'm a big fan of having that diverse group of opinions, of not just being stuck in one group of political or social ideology, but having that multitude of ideas. That's what creates a stronger atmosphere, and that's what makes a student government stronger, and that's what makes a student body stronger. So in my time as the coordinator of U of SC Relief, I was incredibly fortunate to get to meet with a lot of community leaders, especially churches and businesses and community leaders and city government leaders who can really help change the city. And the one major concern they've all expressed is that the student body doesn't really cooperate as much as they should, or doesn't really engage as much as they should. So it's a matter of going to those leaders and sitting down and finding ways to bring them on campus, So one idea we've had is to bring restaurants on campus in the first week of class. So making sure that especially incoming freshmen know that those businesses are in the city, know that we have a number of different restaurant options in the city, or bringing in and having more events in specific organizations. So bringing MetLife into Greek orgs and facilitating those. So rather than having it be a one-off chance that someone contacts someone at a major organization, actually facilitating that cross-pollination and having those people on student government who, when someone has an idea for what they want to see changed, that they have access to both sides of those resources and they can act as that bridge. So it's a matter of actually going out and working to bridge those gaps and identifying where those gaps are existing and making sure that that culture of building those bridges continues far past one single administration. So to me, this all comes down to something that was recently said by Justin Trudeau at the Davos Forum. Leadership is about extending the ladder of opportunity to everyone, not just a select few. That means making sure that every single person on this campus has the ability to create change. That every single person on this campus has the ability to feel like they have power here. Now, as Melinda Gates at the same forum said, goals are only wishes without plans. So my campaign staff and I, we've gone through and every single platform item we've spent months researching. We've meticulously gone through and met with numerous people who actually implemented a lot of these plans at other universities and other cities around the country. We know these can work. We only picked 3 things because we know that we can only focus on certain things. We didn't pick parking because every student government candidate for the last 30 years has promised to fix on that. I don't see any change. We've picked things that we can help change, that we can help make sure that students' lives are better without empty promises. So we're not constantly disappointing students. So when we say we can help make your time better here at USC by doing this, we know we can do it. And we know by working hard, and you've seen that I can work hard. You've seen my work at U of SC Relief. You've seen my work during voter registration drives. You know that's what I'm capable of doing. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help make sure that students can have a better time at this university and can help change it and to let students know that this university is full of opportunities. But there's no reason to wait any longer. Let's start now.